Hi, I'm Toby from Concrete Lab, and in this video we're going to start sealing our cast in place concrete. So in the previous video we applied smoothing paste to the worktop section of concrete that we made previously. We didn't apply smoothing paste to this tabletop section because we wanted to have a little bit more character and variation in the finish. As you can see, I've started stripping the edge forms away. I've taken the melamine off the edges. I haven't taken the plywood underside off yet, which is what I'll do now. And then we can start preparing the concrete to be sealed. Okay, so that's the edge forms taken off, and you can see that none of the sub base is exposed, which is great, which is what we want to see. Now we need to take the rough edges off the concrete, as we did with the worktop section in the previous video, so that it doesn't, you don't cut yourself when you cut your hands on it, and it just has a nice smooth quality to it. So, as we said in the previous video, you can use an orbital sander with the wet dry pads that you used for sanding the concrete initially, or you can use a hand pad. You can buy these very cheaply online, and I've put a link in the description below. So, as before, just going to take the roughness off the edges. Feel the concrete as you go. Just to make sure you're taking off any rougher bits. Don't forget to do the verticals. And don't forget to do the underside. Now you might have a few blemishes on the edges. We've had a little bit of the liquid wash down in between, so just give that a quick rub and it'll take it off. Right, so I'm going to put some gloves on, I'm going to squirt the concrete down, and then we're going to start applying the sealer. So gloves on, squirty bottle and cloth in hand. Just going to take that final layer of dust off. Don't forget to wipe your edges as well, because you are going to be sealing those. Now when you wipe the concrete with a damp cloth, the colour that you see is pretty much going to be the finished colour of the concrete. And that will give you a good indication of what you will achieve by the time you apply the fourth coat. Okay, so wipe down done. Now we're going to apply the first coat of sealer. Now, when you apply the coat of sealer, you're going to want to have kitchen towel on hand. You're also going to want to have, ideally, 2 rollers. You can get away with 1 roller, but 1 roller is going to be for applying, and the other one is going to be to take the sealer off. What we're trying to achieve is as thin a coat as possible when we're finished. Coat 1 is effectively a primer, so it penetrates into the concrete, cures, and it locks the concrete, the surface of the concrete effectively, so the subsequent coats that you apply will fill the concrete up with sealer, so that when you get to coat 4 you're going to be at pretty much the surface of the concrete. So let's get cracking. We'll put the 1 roller and the kitchen towel over there because we don't need it yet. I'm going to wet my roller up Now this is already mixed. If you click the link here, then that will take you to a video that shows you how to mix the sealer up. So I'm going to pour the sealer on, and I'm just going to work it into the concrete. We're going to keep it wet for probably 10 minutes or so that we're confident that the sealer has soaked in, and then we're going to take it off with the second roller. Now, be generous with the sealer when you're putting it on. You don't want it to just suck straight into the concrete and just disappear. It's always worth adding 10 to 15% to your area calculation when you are working out how much sealer to use, so that you've got a little bit more. Better to have a little bit more than a little bit less. Now, on the sealer product page, there is a link to the calculator which will tell you how much sealer that you will need for not only the first coat but for all 4 coats, and that is relative to the area of concrete that you have created. So I'm keeping the whole surface wet as I'm doing this, making sure that I've got a good even coverage, and once I'm confident that the whole of the top surface is saturated, I'm going to move on to the edges. The top section, as I'm sure you will appreciate, is the most important section, because that is the part that will take the biggest hammering. So top done, just move on to the edges. So if you are enjoying this video, click the like button below to let us know that you're enjoying it. Also, whilst you're down there, click the subscribe button and then click the little bell icon next to it. And that means that every time we upload a video, you'll be notified. Just keep working the sealer to make sure that it's evenly distributed. Now, as it soaks in, the colour will change, and this is producing quite a lot of character, which is exactly what we want from this type of method and mix. If you want a smoother, more polished, modern look, then this probably isn't the correct choice of product. We would recommend that you choose the GFRC Worktop Premix kit, and that is a prefabrication product. Here's a link to using the Worktop Premix kit, and it should be a completely smooth finish. Keep rollering the edges. They do need more than just one pass, and also it's important to just pick up any drips that you've got going off the sides. So I'm confident now that the top is saturated with the first coat of sealer. A good sign is that regardless of how much working the sealer into the top that you're doing, none of it's disappearing. So I'm going to start taking it off with the second roller. So I'm going to discard the first roller, take the dry second roller. I've got my kitchen towel here. Now, it's useful to have a bin or some sort of receptacle nearby, because you're going to use a fair bit of kitchen towel up. Try and go for a better brand of kitchen towel, because it will fall apart and you don't want bits of the kitchen towel going on the roller. So we're just going to take that off, mop up the excess, And every so often we're going to take the excess sealer off the roller. So that we can pick more of the sealer up. Now, if you are sealing your concrete and your concrete is outdoors and it's the middle of summer, then I would suggest that you carry out sealer application at the coolest part of the day, which is going to be in the morning, because you don't want it to dry out too quickly. You want the concrete to be able to take as much sealer as possible. Again, don't forget to take the sealer off the edges. Now, when you think you've finished taking the sealer off, you haven't. You need to go a few more times and get the sealer as thin as possible. We don't want to leave a high build of sealer on the surface, because it will stop any subsequent coats from getting through that layer and it will scratch more easily. So keep working the roller up and down the concrete. What you'll find is you'll produce little bubbles. You keep working those and those bubbles will disappear. Now, the great thing about this sealer is that it is food safe and it goes on very easily. And once you've applied your sealer, if you do need to apply any more, then it just goes straight over the top. So if you find that in a couple of years' time you feel that it could do with a reapplication, then a quick sand and seal with a couple of coats will suffice. Okay, so that is the first coat of sealer done. It's a great moment when you put the first coat of sealer on, because you're getting towards the point where you can see what your concrete is going to look like when it's finished. This I'm really pleased with. It's got loads of character. It's exactly what we want from the cast in place mix, and it's going to make for a fantastic indoor or outdoor concrete table. So if you're enjoying these videos, please click the like button, and also please click the subscribe button. And if you have any questions, pop them in the comments box below and we will come back to you within 24 hours.